Hello, my name's Mark Deary and I'm a filmmaker. And I made my first feature film 20 years ago called Maribor ... And yeah, I'm on long service leave from work at the moment, so I'm working on a documentary, a feature documentary called Confessions of a Failed Filmmaker. I've been making these videos. I decided I'm going to make 100 videos in 100 days while I'm on leave. And I'm going to talk about ideas around filmmaking, and just things I'm thinking about while I work on this documentary. And today I wanted to talk about, or in this video, I wanted to talk about doing hard things. But I want to talk about productivity and relaxing, and then the things that fall between productivity and relaxing, and how any one of those things can all be considered a hard thing. So yeah, yesterday was the first day, day 11 of my 100 days, was the first day I considered giving up, like not bothering doing these videos. Just because, like, why am I doing them? Like, nobody's watching them. I've had, a few issues, like the universe is conspiring against me. The whole Murphy's Law thing, I made a video about that. Why am I even bothering? I can just relax. And I need to relax. I talked about that in a different video about scarcity and a bunch of things. I definitely have a need to relax. And I haven't yet since being on leave. And so, why am I doing this project? Why am I doing these things? And I think I have a built-in need to be productive. I remember all the way back to uni that I used to say, like, oh, all these people like chilling and doing whatever, like, oh, I'll just work all night. Like, oh, I can do 3 jobs. Like I can, and I just identified as someone who'd work really hard and be very productive. But here's the thing. I think, like, well, and this is the thing, sometimes being productive, if it's your default, is not necessarily hard. Anyway, I considered giving up yesterday. And I think when you get to that point of like thinking, okay, why am I doing this? When you take stock, I think a lot of the time, or at least I do, is I'll try to prioritize. I'll try to prioritize things that are productive, or that I deem productive, and relaxing, right? Because that's resetting. So you got to work hard, then relax, work hard, then relax. But there's a lot of things that fall in the middle. And one of them is like hanging out with my kids, looking after my kids. Like sometimes I'll go spend quality time with them. And this could be anybody, spending quality time with family, quality time in general. Quality time is not particularly productive, or not necessarily productive. Maybe you'll get to the end of it and it's not necessarily relaxing, right? But so your kids, it's critically important that you spend time with your kids. Same as your family, just to maintain your relationship. Same as your friend, maintain your relationships. And with your kids, you're like helping them become people. So it might not feel productive. You're like, oh, I have this thing I need to do, more productive. Or like, oh, I just need to rest. Like they're going to take away. Sometimes you'll go and you'll spend quality time. Like, oh, let's play a game together. Sit down, play the game. And you'll get to the end of it and they'll say, well, that wasn't the best part of my day. Or that wasn't very fun. Or why did we do that? Or can we stop now? It's like, oh, like I'm spending quality time with you. I'm helping you. And, I don't get the good feelings that come from being productive. I don't get the good feelings that come from relaxing, but it still has to be done. And I mean, is that hard work? Sometimes it's the easiest thing in the world being a parent. Sometimes it's the easiest thing in the world hanging out with your friends. Sometimes it's the easiest thing in the world hanging out with your family. Sometimes it's hard work. And I think sometimes when you're considering quitting, and this is why I started talking about this, because yesterday was the first day I talked about quitting. Today's day 12. I made a few videos today, so I don't know what order they'll come out in the 100. But yesterday was day 11 and I did make a video. And I think when you're feeling down, I don't know, because Candice is sort of the same at the moment, because we've been talking about, we talked in one video about how she's got a book about to come out, and I've a couple of days out of the whole time, like the days when I didn't make a video, usually I was helping her with the book. And it's all kind of done now, like the books are about to come and ship. And yeah, I think we're both feeling a bit the same way, where it's like, oh, what's next? So what's filling the void of my leave? And for her, what's going to fill the void of, and she's already started working on another book. So you always kind of start. But I think doing hard things, productive or not, irrelevant. Relaxing or not, irrelevant. It's like doing hard things. That's what can get you out of a funk. That's what leads to growth, I think. And sometimes doing easy things is fine because you're on autopilot, and maybe that's kind of its own form of relaxing, its own form of rest. But I feel like even relaxing sometimes can be hard. I said in another video, I read a book called Do Nothing a few years ago. I can't remember who the author was. It was a really good book. It was the right book for me at that time, because I was like, permission to do nothing. And realizing that doing nothing for a perfectionist, it's harder than being productive. It's harder than doing things that you have to do, like be a parent and do whatever you have to do, where you can go, look what I do. Who's going to reward you for relaxing except you? I guess your family, if they had to live with you and see you stressed all the time, they'd be happy to see you less stressed, but it doesn't really benefit anybody. So that's a hard thing. So sometimes that's the hardest choice. And making that hard choice is what's going to lead to growth. It's what's going to lead to, you know, getting out of a funk if you're in a funk. And same thing with doing those things that are really important, like making a meal for your kids, or, you know, going out of your way to see your mum, right? Like those things that aren't particularly productive and aren't always fruitful. Like sometimes you come away feeling worse than you felt before you did it, but they're really important. Sometimes that's the hard thing that you do. And you go, well, if I'm doing this, if I'm you know, it kind of, that might be where you spark a new idea to go work on a creative project. That might be where you realize I need to relax or whatever. And it helps you move to the next thing. So yeah, I thought I'd talk today just about that. And I mean, I don't have a lot more to say about it. This is just something that's been on my mind and I wanted to share it, that like, there's these things that aren't productive and that aren't relaxing that you still have to do, and they're important. And I think a lot of the time, those are the things that lead to growth, because that's hard. It's hard to do something that you don't think is productive, but you have to do it. You know, and yet the ironic thing is so many of the best memories come from these things. How much of the productive stuff that you do is really actually like, yes, like short, quick fix, like a dopamine hit watching screens. Like, you know, you get a quick fix and you're like, yes, I did this productive thing. But then you're going to do it again and again, and it is like a hamster wheel. And same as relaxing. Like if you relax too long, you start feeling guilty, or you guilt yourself. I would guilt myself. Too much relaxing. No, I don't give myself enough. So for me, it is hard to do relaxing. But the stuff in the middle, that's the most rewarding stuff. That's when all the surprises come and all the fun stuff comes. So yeah, I think, I don't know if there's even advice in this. My advice would be focus less on productivity, because productivity doesn't matter. And it's funny, last night with the kids, I was watching Junior Taskmaster, the British show. I think there's only one season of it. And they had a task where the kids had to be productive for 5 minutes. It was really funny. And just seeing what each kid did, it was like, spoke about what their parents had taught them. But one kid's like, I don't know what productivity is. And I was like, oh my goodness, how lucky is that 11-year-old or 10-year-old girl, whatever she was, that she didn't have to worry about productivity. Because I think then you just focus on, even if it's things you don't want to do, the opportunities for joyous experience, you know, is there. It's funny because there's this book we read years ago about parenting called All Joy and No Fun, which is often how parenting feels. It's like, oh, it's joyous, but just not fun. It's just a grind, you know, doing this stuff that isn't always fun. But it is always joy-filled and it's rewarding, you know. And I think a lot of the things that you wish you didn't have to do that aren't necessarily productive, when you do them is when you get filled up, when your heart gets filled up and when your soul gets filled up. And I think, yeah, just don't discount the importance of those things just because they're not productive and just because they're not relaxing, which I think is what a lot of people go towards, like work hard, rest hard, work hard, play hard. Like, don't forget the stuff in the middle, because that's where a lot of the best joy comes from. And yeah, I don't know if that's what I planned to say. I think it is in this video. And yeah, thanks for watching today. Like I said, I'm trying to build a community. So what are your thoughts on this? I'd love to know. Tell me in the comments. And if you haven't already, subscribe. I don't know what I'm up to now. Something like, I think this is the 14th video maybe. So yeah, I'll know when they're released. But yeah, I'm going to do 100. So there's plenty more things coming unless I decide to stop, which I don't know if I will. But hopefully I'll get to the end and I'll have my feature documentary released and a bunch of videos where I talk about things I've learned in 20 years as a filmmaker and 43 years as a human. Great talking to you guys. I'll see you tomorrow.